Good evening, everybody. This is the Kinlaw Board of Education regular public meeting for November 14th, 2023. New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advanced notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provision of the Act, the Kinlaw Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published in the Suburban Trends on January 22nd, 2023, posted in the Kinlaw Public Library, filed with the Borough Clerk, and posted on the district website. Ms. Keating, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Eisenmaker?
Here.
Mrs. Leonard?
Here.
Mr. Myers?
Here.
Mrs. Varela?
Here.
Mrs. Portman?
Here.
Mr. Petroselli?
Here.
And Mrs. Donaldson?
Here. Our next item is closed session, so I would like to have a motion, make a motion to move the closed session to only one, and I'd like to move it to the end of the meeting right before adjournment.
So moved. Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll move that to the end of the meeting. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Routine matters of when we have school, the minutes for April 17th, any motion?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion on the minutes from the last week? Ms. Keating, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Leonard?
Yes.
Mr. Eisenmaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Varela?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mrs. Portman?
Yes.
Mr. Petroselli?
Yes.
And Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes. Student representative, Sarah.
Hello.
Good evening. I'll begin with Keel. It was our pleasure to meet with families last week for parent-teacher conferences at Keel, Stony Brook, and Carroll. Thank you to Keisha for our fall scholastic book fair at Stony Brook and Keel. Thank you to our entire community for making Halloween a great experience for our Keel students. Students benefited from a conversation about Halloween safety facilitated by the Kinlaw Police Department, dance party with DJ Teddy, classroom parties planned and implemented by our amazing class parents, and our traditional costume parade that was very well attended by our families. We look forward to seeing students and their families at our K-5 skate night this Thursday evening. We will continue to honor and give thanks to our veterans and active military members for their service. This includes creating a Hall of Heroes as a Keel main entrance, which will feature pictures of both veterans and active military personnel. If you have a loved one or friend who you would like to be included, please submit their picture to the Keel main office. On to Stony Brook. Thank you to our Officer Ricky for presenting information about Halloween safety to our third grade students. The month of October closed with our annual Stony Brook Halloween parade. Our staff and students had a great time. Thank you to all of our families who attended the parade and parent volunteers who provided our students with wonderful Halloween costume parties. Stony Brook held its first Veterans Day assembly, and it was a heartwarming day for all of our staff and students. We were able to hear powerful messages of bravery and courage from several veterans. Our first AEC fundraiser was a huge success. Our annual Stony Brook Student Council food drive is underway, and donations will be collected until November 16th. We are looking forward to our K-5 state event on November 16th. Stony Brook will be hosting PE Jam on December 1st. We are looking forward to physical education teachers from all over the state. On to Hero. The second market period began on Monday. For students enrolled in several classes, for example, art, computer programming, robotics, etc., they begin their new cycle class. First marking period grades will be available by the beginning of next week. The winter concert season is almost here. K-Round's holiday winter choir concert will be on Tuesday, November 5th, and the band concert will be on Wednesday, November 6th. The Traps marketing phase will take place on Thursday, November 7th. And lastly, KHS. KHS's Cold Chronicle newspaper earned third place for print overall excellence in the state of New Jersey at the Garden State Scholastic Press Association's Fall Student Press Day on October 30th. The high school held a blood drive today for students in the community. The Fall Drama Clubs will take place November 17th at 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. and November 18th at 7 p.m. Tickets are available online at the door. KHS will hold a financial aid presentation for seniors and their parents on November 16th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Happy Thanksgiving.
Second.
Thank you.
Superintendent's update.
Thank you, Mrs. President. Thank you, Sarah, and welcome everyone tonight to our meeting. We do have quite a bit to cover tonight, and I'm glad that we have so many community members out. So just if you bear with me on a few updates. What we're currently doing is for the spring of 2024, we want to host and conduct our first ever multicultural event here at the high school. We're working out the plans right now. Mrs. Thomas's office, myself, and Mrs. Tadros will steer that with the middle school and the high school student councils. It's an opportunity for us to get to know one another as neighbors, celebrating all cultures and backgrounds. So more to come on that, but that'll be the first ever that we've ever had here in Kimmel. We have our interim athletic director up on the docket tonight for approval. It's community member and former employee, Mr. John Maya. We're very happy to have him. He will be taking over for Mr. Doty from January 2nd to honor about February 23rd. And in the meantime, we are in the middle of our current process for our athletic director replacement. We've boiled it down to 3 candidates. They come in tomorrow in the semifinal round. And from there, we'll have 2 that will meet with the Education and Student Activities Committee on December 4th. From there, 3 weeks from now, in this very room, we will have a candidate of choice with the hope to have them start here come February 13th. So stay tuned on that. There's a lot of information coming forward with that. And I'd like to, at the same time, when we're talking about the athletic director position, thank the administrative team that was part of that 2-day process, and also the committee, which was comprised of Coach Chet Whitten, Coach Capra, and Coach Fink, as well as students, Julie Ulica and Sean Stasic. So many thanks to them. They sat through the whole process. They were part of it. They all had a piece in that in selecting these 3 semifinals. So big thanks to them. On Leap Day, February 29th, we have our second security forum. Right now, Mr. Shivas and I are meeting with Chief Napolitano and a few of his constituents this coming Thursday to continue to hash out and discuss the reunification project here at the high school, but also not just about the high school. It's more in depth. We're talking about all of QLab. We're talking about how does that impact Cisco building, how does that impact Peel School, and how does that impact PRF. We believe that it's important for our parents and our staff and faculty to know exactly what to expect. So we're working those kinks out. I ask that you bear with us. If you'd like to join us on February 29th, you're more than welcome. If you go to the district website and you'd like to just join the security committee, because that's what we are forming right now, please feel free. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to Mr. Shivas. You know, the more the merrier. We need some help and we need all different perspectives. So please join if you can. Moving down the line, I'd like to thank Mrs. Tadros for a fantastic Veterans Day, and Mrs. Utero and Mr. Mongan specific for their activities at Stony Brook and Kiel School. I'd also like to thank Councilman Navy, who put me in contact, and then Mrs. Tadros with some of our veterans that actually came in and spoke to our students and staff. It was a tremendous day in both buildings. It really was inspiring for our students and for our staff. So many thanks to our veterans and anybody here who served. I thank you for your service. We have some dates going down the line with our strategic plan. The next one is January 25th. If you can, it's our 3rd and final event. At the December public meeting, we'll have our fall sports awards recognition, we'll have our mid-year retirees recognition, and Mrs. Woodruff, who handles transportation, will also be conducting a presentation. That will be pretty important because it's about, it's fundamentally about bringing in our own transportation. Because as of right now, we have 8 of our own 54 passenger buses and multiple 24 passenger. But as you may know, we also have to farm out to Jordan and First Student, and sometimes it's a little much. So we want to really delve into the possibility of having our own transportation fleet, Kinlaw. So if you can, or if you can't, I know it's the holidays, you could always watch online or catch it maybe if we have a snow day, let's hope for not snow days. But, and then in January, we'll have our Board of Ed and our district mid-year goal review, and that too is very important because the district goals is how superintendents are evaluated by boards of education, and you as a community select the Board of Education. You elect them. So their board goals. So again, if you can't make it to that January public meeting, I encourage you to tell your neighbors to just look online, gain accurate information, and understand where we're moving and where we're headed, because tonight is a big one. We have Mrs. Soroka from Rubino Architect, and she will be conducting a presentation shortly about a facility assessment that the board approved last spring, and it is cumbersome. So when we look at facility assessment, when we look at strategic planning, and then also on the docket tonight for approval is a demographic study which should take place sometime in the winter. That is a perfect storm. It is a perfect storm as to where the district will steer in the next 5 years. So if you're not part of any of those committees, I encourage you to get involved. If you don't have the time and you just want to be a member and receive the minutes and the notes, you can do so. If you don't have time for that, you just want to ask a question, you know where to find me, you know where to find the board, you know where to find us. But there is a lot happening. And once things really, when wheels of motion go into play and decisions are made, that's where then we'll ask, well, you have to be part of the process. So giving everyone every ample opportunity to join in. So I know that was a lot, but the best part of our meetings are always about our students and student achievement. So at this time, I'm going to call Mr. Mangan and Mr. Buser for the September or the fall Hills of Character.
Thanks, Mr. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to see so many people here tonight. We have a lot of people to celebrate. You know, Mr. Buser and I and our staff, we know we're fortunate to work with so many capable students. You know, and we have grades that honor their academics, and we have competitions and events that honor their talents in sports and in the arts as well. But what we're here to honor tonight is something that kind of flows through all of that and is really what makes our school a special place to be. The students that we're honoring tonight are those being honored as pillars of character. And as you're going to see as we go through the presentation, we're going to be honoring some really important virtues that, as the students demonstrate these, they just make our school a better place to be. How this comes about is our teams of teachers who know our students very well are always on the lookout. And when they see someone standing out in one of these special particular ways, they put forward their name to be nominated as a pillar of character. We honor them in our school newsletter. We honor them in a daily announcement. And we're fortunate that the board and superintendent allow us to honor them tonight. So with that said, we will begin with our honoring of the pillars of caring. The pillar of caring is awarded to students who are kind and compassionate in their interactions with others. The way in which they carry themselves makes PRM a warm and welcoming place to be. The following students received the pillar of character in the first marking period. And when I call your name, if you would come down, please, and then we'll gather everybody over there. We'll take a picture when we're all done with all of the pillars together. Our pillars of caring in the first marking period went to Jojo Canariato, Anushka Anaperkar, and Kayla Patel.
Good evening, everybody.
Pillar of Fairness. Pillar of Fairness is awarded to students who uphold the rules, good conduct, are open-minded when encountering new situations, listen actively to those around them, and treat others fairly. They model exemplary conduct in their interactions with those around them. And the following students are recipients of the Pillar of Fairness for the first marking period. Congratulations to Elena Fishbeck, Michaela Ganaletta, and Nick Wedlars.
Dave, do you want to stay up there? You guys are the center of attention.
That's right. This is your home. Okay. The Pillar of Respect is awarded to students who are considerate of others' feelings, are courteous to others, are accepting of differences, and treat others how they would like to be treated. They let those around them know through their words and actions that they are valued. The following students received the Pillar of Respect in the first marking period: Krishnan Duanish, Ethan Hertzberg, and Amelia Jekes.
Pillar of Responsibility. The Pillar of Responsibility is awarded to students who consistently try their best, persevere when faced with challenges, demonstrate self-discipline, and are accountable for their words and their actions. They set a positive example for everyone with whom they interact. The following students received the Pillar of Responsibility in the first marking period. Congratulations to Isabella Holman, Savannah Mango, and Emmanuel Zapata.
The Pillar of Trustworthiness is awarded to students who are honest, loyal, and follow through on what they say they will do. These students can be relied upon in any situation, and their integrity shines through in their actions and their interactions every day. The following students received the Pillar of Trustworthiness in the first marking period: Margaret Bialaba, Cole Oishi, and Briley Ramali.
The Pillar of Citizenship. The Pillar of Citizenship is awarded to students who make choices that protect the rights and safety of others, demonstrate the qualities of being a good community member, and cooperate well with others. Simply stated, their actions make our school and community better. The following students received the Pillar of Citizenship in the first marking period. Congratulations to Jillian Kahala, John Fiuza, William Plesitz, and Brindley Samples.
And once again, a round of applause for all of our pillars of character. Behind the table there. Parents, you're also welcome to come down and take photos if you would like.
Marcus, if you want to come up and take a solo picture, we're gonna take like a 5-minute.
We're gonna take a recess right now, so if you want to take a picture, parents with their kids, come on up. Once you guys are done, you're welcome to stay. This is the opening meeting. But you can also.
Good evening, my name is Amanda Tremetta, District Supervisor of Mathematics. Tonight I'm here to present our educational technology roadmap. So the last time I was here in May, I presented an EdTech update and I kind of gave you a little bit of a vision of where we were headed. So in this presentation, I'm just going to give you an an update on all the things that we've been working on and where we're headed for the future. So this is just a quick overview, and then I'm going to go in more detail into each of these topics. So this summer, we launched our one-to-one device guidelines and our digital learning handbook, and those guidelines were really to just support the integration of our one-to-one devices. So that was something we didn't have before. We upgraded our devices at the high school. We enhanced our tech access, so we expanded our access down to Kiel School, improving our opportunities for digital learning. We also integrated with Clever, so that was something that we had access to previously, but we really use it to streamline and give our kids access to all of the applications in one place. We've also acquired Elastic as our assessment platform, and we're making progress in building assessments and also building our data warehouse in Elastic. And then some of the things that we're working on, we're looking at more device upgrades across the district and really developing our students' technical skills. So I'm going to go a little bit more into detail into each of these and talk a little bit about where we're headed. So as far as the one-to-one device guidelines, I just wanted to draw some attention to this. So this was part of our registration process this year, and parents had to acknowledge these in order for students to receive their devices. So we want to make sure that everyone's clear on the insurance information. So if anyone wants to go back, and this document is linked on our website, it'll also be linked in this presentation. Page 19 has the details about what's covered and not covered. I know there have been a lot of concerns and questions when parents are receiving bills about chargers and things like that. So please refer to that page so that you can see exactly what is covered and not covered under the insurance. And we really want you to just take a look at the document just so that we are all in agreement with the shared responsibility of this one-to-one program, the responsibility between the students and parents and the district with these devices. So we want to just make it a good experience for everyone, so please take a look at this when you have a chance if you haven't done so already. Expanding our tech access to Kiel. So what we've done is we've shifted some of the devices that were, since we replaced our high school devices, we had devices that we were able to move down to Kiel School. So we have 2 cards per grade level in grades 1 and 2. iPad cards at the kindergarten level because those were more developmentally appropriate. And we have one-to-one iPads for small group instruction. So this is not a replacement of traditional instruction. It's really just to enhance the programs that we have. So it's really been a great experience. Teachers are making reservations for the cards and using them as a center in their classroom. And we're really using it to support students that have individualized needs. So pictures, we're just really enhancing our opportunities for our youngest learners. Clever. Clever's been an amazing transition this year. What we've done is we've used Clever for rostering, so it's really saved us a lot of time as a district. We've been able to get our students loaded into our platforms and not have to do that manually anymore. It syncs with our student information system, and we really have everything in one place for our students and for our teachers. It really allows the kids to access everything in one place, not have to worry about passwords and things like that. And our Kiel students, they have badges, so if you have a younger student, you'll see those little QR codes that they have some that go home with them, and it really just gives them some independence and allows them to log in simply, and they're using it to get onto the Chromebook and to get onto their apps in an easy way. We're also, so I mentioned Elastic, that's our assessment platform. We are using this to make data-driven decisions. So we are using it to build standards-based assessments. So we're using it to create standardized assessments in all of our grade levels, and that'll give us insights for our instruction. And the data studio on the other side of things, we're building, so we're working with Elastic right now to be able to put our data files in there so that teachers can see a picture of their whole student at a glance, and we can make decisions about RTI and things like that. So this is just, we're building this, and it's going to be really great once we have everything in there, and it'll help us make data-driven decisions about instruction and helping students. And then this is something that you'll see on the agenda tonight. So our transition to the future, our new student information system. So we will be transitioning from on-course fully. So that was something I had mentioned. We peeled away some of the layers. We transitioned away from classroom. We transitioned away from the assessment piece over the summer, and now we're transitioning fully to real time. So this is a New Jersey-based student information system. We will be adopting it for implementation over the summer. So what you'll see on the agenda is to acquire it now so that we can transfer everything over the course of this year, the rest of the year, so that we can implement it in July. So that way you'll have access to historical data that has been in course all of these years. And we really want to just improve and centralize everything into one place. Right now we have stuff in all different places, so we really want this to be a central location where we have everything in one place for parents and for teachers, just so we can manage everything more efficiently. Some of the components, so this is just a quick overview of all of the things that are part of the student information system. So scheduling, grade book, report cards, transcripts, discipline, a nurse's office and medical records, all of that will be housed. So right now our information system doesn't do that, so this will be another piece. Activities and sports, something else that we currently don't have with our student information system. So, our teachers, if you don't have a student during the day and when you coach them in a sport, you'll be able to see, were they in school, and you'll have access to that. You'll be able to see if you need, an EpiPen for a field trip, things like that. So everything is in one place. Our IEPs and 504s, that will also be in the same system. Attendance, enrollment, contact information, lesson planning, all of our professional growth stuff for our teachers will be in there, and then also for our reporting purposes for state and federal reporting, all of that, all of those templates are also housed in there as well. There's accessibility for everyone, so there's an app for students, for parents, and for teachers. This will allow you to quickly access their information, their portal. And again, it's a seamless transition. They have a really great planning process. We're working with them to plan out, the steps so that make sure that everyone's properly trained and that everything gets transferred over quickly. So we'll have a detailed training plan that we will share out, and parents will be part of that process. We'll also have times for parents to come out and ask questions to be able to troubleshoot the app and things like that. So we really want to simplify our data management and collaborate with all of you to share the information, so our students' assessment scores and things like that. We want to collaborate with everyone. So that's a major goal with this transition. And then we're also just navigating the path forward. We're exploring options to acquire, we're looking to do touchscreen devices for grades 6 through 12. So I know we just got new devices for the high school, but the idea is to move those down to our younger students so that they have touchscreen devices, which are more appropriate than the ones that they have. We're looking to develop a student repair academy. So we sent out surveys. We have some interest at the high school and middle school level. So we would love to teach our students how to repair our devices, how to replace a screen, and just give them some technical skills to be able to use, outside of the classroom. And then, so the idea for that is through an elective at the high school, through our computer club at the middle school. And then just looking at an asset management system so that we can run our repairs internally and more efficiently. And then this is just for anyone who's in strategic planning. These were a lot of the themes that were mentioned in strategic planning, and these really align nicely with the things that we're trying to achieve with the technology. So we want to focus on instruction that capitalizes on student interest, our individualized interest, so our technology can help us to do that. We have students who, we want students to demonstrate skills beyond just academics, so that's one of the things with having the Student Repair Academy that would be, help us achieve that goal. And then we really want to use tech to facilitate flexible learning environments, so again, like using it as a center in a classroom, having students work on, the gaps that they may have, and things like that. And we really want to enhance our homeschool connection. That is something that, this new student information system will help us do. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Mrs. Tronetta, and thank you everyone for participating and listening and hearing that vision, and we'll continue to see it through. And then at this time, we want to call on Mrs. Soroka from Rubino Architects. And Mrs. Soroka, the floor is yours.
everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Allison Stroka, principal to Carabino Architects. We're the district architect of record, and we're located in New Jersey. We were asked to perform a facility assessment for the district, and for those of you who may be unfamiliar with what that is, it's when professionals and engineers and architects come in, they do a very thorough walkthrough, investigation, visiting every space, looking at all your equipment, and really giving you an idea of where things are and the quality, and the lifespan. How do you get your lifespan on your roofs or your equipment, etc. We started the process this past summer, and we made quite a few visits to each and every building, multiple times to different spaces, the same spaces. We had people coming out and really just giving a really good idea of all the conditions of the buildings. That's a range of the site, so everything throughout the site of all of the buildings. That's ranging from the fields to the playgrounds, sidewalks, macadam, the pavement, the building envelope, which again, now that's the building exterior, the enclosure, the roofs, the windows, doors, your facades, the brick, the stucco, the EIFS, everything that's the building enclosure envelope. The interior, that's all the architectural interior spaces and conditions of all the finishes, the chairs you're sitting on, the equipment, the walls, the paint, the toilet rooms, the kitchens. It's really all of your interior spaces. And then HVAC and mechanical equipment, those assessments were performed by our engineering firm that we have consulted. That's Johnson and Urban Engineering, as well as the electrical assessment, plumbing, and also fire protection. So really, on an overall as well, we're looking at the accessibility guidelines, the ADA, how your buildings meet those guidelines, and if they're in compliance. Building codes and safety, the aesthetics, and again, like those finishes, is the carpet failing? Is it need its life cycle? The overall programming of spaces, performance and energy of your equipment, and again, facility requirements based on the different conversations and interviews that we've had with building personnel, principals, the facilities teams, buildings and grounds, and also the administration. So what we do with all of the information that we find in this very thorough report is we make a plan for the long-range facility plan. So the Department of Education requires that the district update their LRFP, their long-range facility plan, every 5 years. They require this so that they have an idea of what you're doing, what your buildings need, and that you're spending and you're in compliance with your spending. So when you go out for these roof projects that you were just allotted for broad grant funding, you wouldn't have been able to apply and get the funding and go out for bid for those projects without being in compliance with your LRFP. So we need to make sure that all the districts, your district, is staying in compliance with the state. Otherwise, when you want to go out for a project and you're not in compliance, they don't let you move forward. They put a stop. They're not going to give you approval. So it's very important to keep that plan up to date, and having this report allows the district to really prioritize those projects and really determine, okay, well, what is the necessity? where do we want to be next year? What are we budgeting for? And use it as that tool as well in the business office. All right, so we're gonna start with the Glen Cisco School, which was built in 1923 and it's had multiple additions. 1949, 1953, and then it had a very full thorough renovation in 1999. If you're not familiar, the building it is 2 stories. The lower level is currently administrative offices. The lower floor also is built into the grade. So at the front of the school, it does have about a 4-foot difference in grade from the finished floor elevation to the grade at the front steps. The second floor, it accommodates pre-K program. It used to be a kindergarten program, and it is fully sprinkled. So that's very important. Based on our assessments, the site is in actually fair condition. It's got some minor pavement cracking. Sidewalks are, cracking here and there. There is some issues with ADA parking stalls that they're not in compliance right now with the code. So that would need to be addressed. We really recommend that. The stormwater, there is some issues with some of the stormwater on the site and around the entrances and the building. The pavers, there is issues with some pavers on site. There's also been conversation about some fencing that would really like to be added at the adjacent playground. Overall building envelope, again, foundation, there is some issues with some of the foundation and the concrete. There are lintels that do need to be addressed for rust and corrosion. There is metal doors again at those areas where I had mentioned there's some stormwater concerns that also have corrosion and we recommend being replaced. The shingle roof, it is in need of replacement. There are some wood casements around some columns, cladding that needs to be addressed. There are steps and stairs also that are having some issues with heaving and whatnot that would also be important to make sure that it's taken care of. The interior building, it's in good shape. Again, like I said, it was renovated in 1999, and it hasn't really been occupied this entire time with students. So it is accessible, the interior of the building, which is very important. And the rear entrance, at the rear entrance, there's an elevator, so you can move floors. There is minor issues with the toilet room. They are not in full compliance, but they do meet the current code for existing facilities. So just to know that the code has gotten more stringent and the spaces have actually increased for a more of a scooter type wheelchair, but you fall into the category of an existing facility, so your clearances are okay. There is some minor things with some of the interior spaces as well for clearances and some strange configurations, but again, there is an existing facility, so unless you were doing a major renovation, we understand that the reconfiguration isn't just going to happen very easily. There is some carpeting and interior finishes, VCT flooring that are starting to show some age from that renovation that was completed. And I will go into and show you some of those finishes in the following pictures. As far as the equipment, there is equipment that, the mechanical equipment that was recommended to be replaced, boilers, pumps, the BMS control system, there is no, which is the building management system. For your HVAC equipment and all the equipment that run the building, currently the BMS system it's non-existent. So we really recommend including that. It really helps for energy savings, and it's available now and you can have it on your phone. So it's really recommended to get that upgraded so everything is running at peak performance. The lighting is existing fluorescent lighting. We recommend going to an LED either bulb or retrofit the fixtures to accommodate an LED. Just do a full replacement. Currently, the clocks, we have been told by the staff that the clocks are no longer functioning in a way that they're synced or they can't get parts, it's hard to source parts. So we are recommending to go with a wireless system for the clocks. Now, for the plumbing and the hot water boiler is also has met its age and is a recommendation to be replaced. I'm going to go through just the photos, kind of giving you a broad brush of all of these items, and I'm going to move quickly, but if there's anything that you have a question on, please let me know. We'll start with the exterior site conditions. This is the ADA stall, which do not have your clearances on the side of the spot, and there's some macadam that is rough in the back there that you can see there. It seems like there's an island for clearances. There's the cracks in the macadam and the curbing. Right now, the site has a playground at the adjacent between the field and the building, and there is no existing fencing around that playground. That is a continuous fence, and I recommend that for security reasons. These are those areas where I was talking about the stormwater drainage concerns. Right now, you can see that the staff has put in some sort of a barrier. It's a rubber barrier to prevent and try to mitigate water from coming down into the sunken landing here. Because right now the storm draining is not working properly and it's not being able to keep up with a significant storm when it does occur. And another image of that. Here's another condition at the stair. You can see there's a barrier installed along that edge. This is a perimeter masonry wall that has seen better days. It's got some cracking, settling and moisture intrusion. There's also finishes, painted finish, starting to chip. An exterior stair access that is now not to code. The steps and the landing, there's all different sizes, differential step rise or heights. So this would be a recommendation to built. As you can see from this photo, there's cracking and there's also some heaving from the bluestone pavers, ground joints as well. This is another area on the site, same condition, where pavers are heaving and ground joints are broken up. All right, we're going to the building envelope now. As you can see, this is a lintel over an open window. This is the steel that holds up the brick above. This has also started to rust. This is a door. This is also starting to rust. Some mullions, some window mullions. Some of that wood trim that I was telling you about on the columns. This one is completely degraded, and you can't tell, but you would imagine that either the structure inside would also have to be replaced as well, besides just the exterior trim. That structural concrete wall is starting to charge off, so this would have to be addressed. We would recommend coming back with rebuilding it and coming back with some stone to continue that facade. So also some earth cracking. We have some bird's nests, more facade paint damage, mildew, etc. see that there's water, ponds here, and some organic material that we now have some moss growing. This is one of the canopies, the entrances, again, the shingle roof, moss growth, organic material. The interior conditions, this is the entrance in the rear, and currently right now there is no secure access control vestibule in this space. So we have talked about putting in a secondary set of doors to handle any visitors that are coming into the space for the administration offices. This is that area I was talking about where configuration may be treated best, where we have some clearance issues in front of the location of that area, as well as some issues with handrail and ADA clearance as well. This is another stair that's leading into an office space. Again, this is just a straight configuration in the building that we would recommend being configured. So those finishes that we had talked about, where we have the VCT flooring, where it's looking into the step, and you can see that this floor finish is degraded. Carpet is also degrading the steps. You can start to see the glare. This is one of the toilets in the space. Existing finishes throughout. This is the second floor where we have some records and storage. Leak. We have a hole. This is the missing insulation at the roof. And your existing equipment for mechanicals in the boiler room. Your domestic hot water heater, boilers, pumps. Just noted that the pumps, they're not on isolators. So when the pumps are running, it has been noted that the occupants can hear the pumps running and the shaking. Included in the report are also plans identifying the different conditions that are outlined in each section. And we've also noted priorities as well. And the interior floors go into each individual condition, but this is just outlining the different items: interior, exterior, site. This is the roof. All right, and we're going to go into field school. So field school is pre-K to second grade, and there's floors. It's a fully sprinklered building, and it was built in 1995. So it's in the school world. Building is well maintained, in good condition, and it is again fully sprinklered, ADA compliant. There is an elevator that connects to the floors. The toilet rooms are in compliance with the existing facilities. However, they are starting to show their age at this point, and miscellaneous finishes are in need of replacement. There are some cracks in the floors, for example. The MEP mechanical systems are all original. They're approximately 30 years old, and cooling and heating are all DX condensers, water, natural gas heat. And the classrooms have unit ventilators for heating and cooling, as well as ventilation. Also, there is secondary heating for the hot water baseboard throughout. It is recommended that all of the equipment does have a plan for replacement, and it would be a replacement time. The BMS system, again, is no longer functioning, and the computer and software equipment was removed and never replaced. The same types of conditions are occurring at Keel as far as the site, pavement cracking, concrete sidewalks, the stormwater issues, pavers are heaving, and the fencing throughout the rear of the building would be recommended for security purposes, as well as at that playground adjacent. The building envelope, the masonry is in need of some repointing in certain areas, not the entire building. There is some ephes chipping along the columns. The shingle roof is in need of replacement and has been granted funding from the ROD grants, the regular operating district grants that were issued or being issued by the state. That is just, we're just waiting for the SDA to release those approval letters, and the money will be available, which the district can then move forward with the projects. And hopefully that will be for next summer. The rear flat roof is also in need of a replacement. The toilets, the ADA finishes, as I had mentioned. The mechanical and HVAC, the equipment, the boilers, the pumps, and the EMS controls. And the the main service, the panels, those have reached their lifespan. However, this building is relatively new, and we wouldn't really recommend replacing them. However, just know that they have served very functional, and they are at their useful life recommendation. However, we would recommend that they be replaced. The lighting, the LED lighting, we would recommend clocks, and there is a sprinkler head that does need to be relocated. Again, I can identify it in the following photos. Some more of the pattern marking. This is the ephes and the cracking at the entrance landing. This is where we're having some of the paving stones and the pavers. The ground area for the stormwater is an issue. This is where the school has heavy rain, heavy storm rain actually overflows the gutters. The gutters haven't been designed to handle as much rain as they're handling right now, and it could be recommended to be resized. That will be addressed in the roof project. There is also a lot of ice damming that happens in the winter, in the colder months, because the water starts to just freeze up and it just builds up, and there's some icicle issues, a safety, it's a hazard sort of thing. There is some mildew buildup on the facade that we recommend cleaning. Again, here is that condition at the roof where it's starting to bubble around one of the exhaust fans, and we're excited to get that addressed. This is the current gutter system and downspouts. You can see again the condition of the roof beyond. This is the condition of the flat roof in the rear. And a picture of the current rooftop units that are in need of replacement. They are leaking into the space below, which is why you're seeing this makeshift roof over top to try and help mitigate the water from actually going into the unit and then going into the finished space below. This is another situation where water is finding its way into some of the pipe portals for the equipment. So we have noticed that they've covered up with a tarp and try to mitigate that water again from coming down into the space below. Some of the light fixtures in the corridors, and we recommend for upgrading those because over time, the fluorescent light fixtures, they do degrade and they're not performing at the same level that they should. And was recommended by the calculations for the spaces that were. the existing clocks that are very hard to source parts for, as I noted. Recommend those all get replaced. And this is then cover for the sprinkler head outside of the newly added security vestibule. We would recommend that that gets reconfigured into vestibule. Right now, it's not in compliance with the new configuration for life and safety and fire protection system. Again, this is the plans that are included in the report, and they do correspond, all the colors and the items do correspond with each condition as I had noted. This is where we were having that heavy wear and tear at the front corners of the entrance, and we have that ice damming, water overcoming the gutters, and paving is heating. Moving on to Stony Brook. Stony Brook, this one was built originally in 1957 and has been enlarged twice. Building was also renovated in 2004. It is a single story, not sprinkled. The only sprinklers that the building does have is at the boiler rooms and the storage rooms. The building is really in good overall condition. It is handicap accessible. Minimal improvements are required at the ADA toilet rooms for staying in compliance. The original kindergarten toilets in the space, there's 3 of those that are the original, are non-compliant, and we would really recommend that those are upgraded. They do not align with the ADA standards. The roofing at the original building lacks the positive slopes to gutters and drains, and it's actually being mitigated and sloped back into the roof, which causes a lot of ponding. And we're having over the years, we've been having a lot of leaks at the perimeter edges of this building. We are actually, the district has been approved for ROD grant funding for these roofs to be replaced. And again, we're just waiting for those grants to get approved in the final letters from the SDA so that that project can move forward and we can get those roofs replaced. The HVAC system is, it includes heating and it has a hot water plant, unit ventilators, rooftop units, and the unit ventilators do have DX power coils. There's condensing units on the roof, and the rooftops have deep cooling and hot water coils and ductwork. The refrigerant for this building that is handling the cooling equipment is R22. R22 has been phased out, if you're not familiar, and so whenever one of these unit ventilators or piece of equipment that handles this type of refrigerant goes down and needs to be replaced, or needs to be maintained or addressed, it does need to be replaced with a new unit that has a coil that can handle the new refrigerant. The hot water heaters have been replaced, and one is 11 years old, and the other is 16 years old. The site, again, very similar, pavement cracking issues, concrete sidewalks, are concerns with the current courtyard condition and rocks and stuff, because of the growing weeds and plant life that does grow, and it's a maintenance issue for the district. There are canopies that are concerned, doors and frames that are rusting. Roofing is a major issue, as I mentioned. And the masonry, we have some issues with weighting, as well as mildew, mold, the typical maintenance issues with masonry that they do need to be cleaned. The interiors, there are toilet finishes that need to be addressed. There's existing casework that is original to the building. fire rated doors that aren't rated because of the type of glazing that is used. And the existing kitchen has items that we recommend be addressed. Again, the mechanical and HVAC equipment, as I mentioned, boilers, pumps, building management system controls, the LED lighting, the clocks, and hot water heaters. We would recommend that the playground be addressed with fencing and enclosure around the playground for safety reasons for the students. There are some abandoned concrete pads around the site that are posing a tripping hazard. Cracking concrete. Building envelope, as I had said, there's some buildup and organic material growth on the facade. The hollow metal doors and frames are rusting out, as well as the sills. The canopy over the existing door. This was an added element, I'm not sure when, but we would recommend that be moved and replaced. This is the canopy building that you can see has fallen apart. It's missing an entire edge, and it's collected a lot of debris on the roof. Another angle. Again, some organic growth growing from the side of the building and the masonry. More doors that have lost their finish, painted or replaced. FRP door. Facade. We have some repointing concerns here where ground is missing the joints. We have a damaged gutter where a vehicle has struck the corner of the building. Here. And again, this is where we are seeing this continuous leaking at the perimeter of this building. And it is all because of this roof edge where the edge is actually higher and the water is then sloping backwards. And you can see exactly where it's pooling. The existing kitchen of cafeteria. It currently has a VCT flooring, and you can see that the flooring is starting to collect a lot of grime, and it's very hard to clean this floor. As you can see, there's multiple pipes and equipment, tables, away, and this is not the ideal flooring for a kitchen space. We're missing grab bars, and in order to meet ADA compliance within the ADA stalls, that's may have just been an oversight project. We're at the lighting again. This is some of the original casework that has never been replaced. The toilets in the classrooms. Again, floor plans. So middle school, it was built in 1967 and enlarged in 2004 along with numerous interior renovations. The building is 2 stories and it is not sprinkled. The site, again, very similar to Peel and Francisco building with the pavement, concrete, sidewalks, fencing, stairs, all seeing the same type of age and wear and tear. The front of the building, there is no canopy at the main entrance, as you can see in this picture beyond. The curtain wall has also shown wear and tear at that entrance as well, with rusting and degrading of the metal finishes. There's erosion as well as we believe it could be from the treatment of the salt, the snow, the ice of winter that's causing that damage. The overall building, the finishes are in good condition. However, there are some of those rooms that have never been upgraded where there is original casework, and they're due an important addition to be replaced. The existing cafeteria, serving line, and kitchen, as well as the service areas, again, those are original to the building and have never been replaced, and we would recommend some reconfiguration and upgrades to those areas to address the current population of the building. The locker rooms and toilets, again, original to the building, and they're not ADA compliant. And all of the existing HVAC equipment, the original portion of the building, are well beyond their useful life. They have original Nesbitt UVs, as well as rooftop units that no longer even have tags on them. There's outdated boilers, pumps, and ventilation equipment, and really we recommend that all be addressed. The addition equipment is not as old, obviously, but we do recommend that it be addressed in the coming years because it is also at its useful life, the end of its useful life expectancy. And again, these UVs are using the R22 refrigerant, which again has been phased out and will need to be upgraded if those go down. The original switchgear to the building is a Federal Pacific switchgear. It's considered electrical service, and that is it's a company that's gone out of business. Parts are nearly impossible to source, so that is something that will need to be addressed. And again, the lighting for the LED light fixtures is also a high priority. The overall building envelope, there are windows and roofing concerns here that are surprising. I'll show you in a follow-up slide of the detail that's at this building that's very concerning and has caused a lot of problems for the masonry and the lintels, the windows, and the facades at the courtyards. The toilets and finishes, they need to be addressed. There's casework again. The clocks, again, similar to the other schools, and the hot water boilers as far as plumbing. Again, we're wrapping up the exterior drives. This is the stair that connects the schools, the middle school to the middle school, and this is it's in bad shape. The stairs are all spalling. They've been repaired multiple times. You can see the corrosion coming through the stairs from the rebar. We're concerned also about the handrails and guardrails. This is a low wall on the site, and it's got moisture coming into the brick, and we're seeing the freeze-thaw cycle at its best here, where we have literally taken brick off of the wall. The building envelope, there are areas and exits in front of the building that are fire egresses that have a step at the exterior due to the existing grades. And we are concerned with this throughout because of the ADA accessibility. This is that detail that I was telling you about that is very concerning, and you can see the amount of moisture that has gotten behind this brick wall, and it's starting to come through as this black mildew, it's staining the organic material that has begun to grow in all of the joints, and as well as completely rotting out the steel lintels at the window heads. This caulk line has been repaired multiple times, but unfortunately, this is not the problem. The problem is that actually at the top of the wall, where the moisture is actually coming in. This is the detail from the original drawings for the building when it was constructed. And there is this detail where they've actually carved out a slot into the brick, which has got a sealant or a caulk joint that's going to give out, and it's going to have to be maintained every few years. Well, that was never maintained, obviously, and the water has just been seeping into the brick wall and behind the flashing, where all of this moisture is getting behind the bricks and it's going all the way down the window, all the way down the wall, and actually big way ahead. Currently, you have the courtyards and you have panic and egress hardware out of the courtyards as required by code. We would just recommend that these exits from the courtyard be tied into your security system, your burglar system, so that if anything happened after hours, the alarms would go off if someone had gained access to the courtyard to try and gain access into the building. Typical throughout the building is our hollow metal door frames are all rusting out and needing chipping. We have window installations that need to be addressed because we have open gaps at the frames on either side. Again, here are some of those exterior steps from our exterior doors and our lower courses of brick where the mortar is actually no longer in the ground, and we recommend repointing. We do believe that this is most likely attributed to the treatment of the snow, ice, and salt. Again, this is that front entrance, and we do have some staining here, as well as, you can't really see it that great in this photo, but there is some corrosion setting in on the sides as well. There's more of that dark black finish from the mildew after many years. This is the roof condition where you can see there's a lot of organic material that is growing, creating moss and mildew throughout. You can see where your maintenance pads, your walk-off membranes are basically disintegrated throughout. Again, there's a downspout and it's created a moisture problem here where organic material has to grow. And there should be some sort of a splash block there, or the downspout should be tied into the roofing system. This is an existing piece of equipment, again, very similar to Kiel School, where we've created this makeshift cover so that we can mitigate any water that is getting in and causing leaks from. Some of that original piecework from the building that has never been replaced. Again, the clocks are an item that need to be addressed. This is within the locker rooms. You can see that the lower courses of tile here are completely falling off the wall, and we have original lockers for the space. So, UCT tile that is right here to the floor is cracked. Again, this is a prep room for the science classrooms, original piecework, condition of one of the sinks. The toilets started to show their age and wear and tear. Multiple patches on the walls, pictures of the board. Toilet, it's not ADA compliant. Again, not ADA compliant. Original. This is the original, or this is your kitchen, original finishes throughout. This is the ceiling and lights, all fluorescent. This is your existing library, which is showing pretty original conditions for the piecework, aging flooring, aging ceiling, fluorescent light fixtures, and then just general tables and chairs. This is that condition where I was telling you with the roof. It's at the center courtyards, and that's really where we would recommend replacing first because of those concerning issues. building was originally from 1962 and had multiple additions. The gym addition was in 1998. In 2003, the music technology and art rooms on the west end of the building. And in 2008, the music room and library were added at the south wing. The building consists of 3 floors and it is not fully sprinkled. Again, the site is showing very similar signs as the others, the pavement, concrete, ADA sidewalks, the visitors grandstand is concerned, exterior stairs, railings, exterior lighting, site lighting, field vehicle access drives, and as well as access to the visitor grandstand as well as the locker rooms. The building entrance has no canopies at the doors. Again, that has caused concern and an issue for the erosion of the existing doors and frames, and those will need to be replaced. Masonry, we're pointing again, same things with mortar, and the interior items, toilets, finishes, cafeteria, kitchen, auditorium renovation, the concession building, and there's some asbestos flooring throughout the gym that's going to be addressed. The equipment, again, pretty much similar to the middle school, where there is portions of the building that were never addressed in the original, so it is beyond its useful lifespan. Refrigerant, again, R22 is a concern here, so the compressors and condensers, those are again the highest point of failure and will be required to be replaced with unit compatibility with refrigerant. There is also the existing switchgear here, similar to the other building, where it cannot source parts, and it should be addressed in the coming years. This is not one of the further sidewalk walkways where you're missing a railing. Lots of issues with the existing asphalt drive. There is missing capstones, and we are concerned about this differential in grade due to the safety, and there's no handrail or guardrail. The existing site lighting is undersized, it's short, it's low. You're not getting enough foot candles we recommend for a parking lot, as well as the obvious finish. Again, those stairs where we're having the concrete falling and corrosion is starting to come through. We're also missing some of the non-slip nosings. This is a point where we would recommend locating an access drive for your emergency vehicles to the fields and to these units. Again, more of that masonry, water infiltration on the wall, cracking throughout the sidewalks. Your visitors' bleachers over here, not ADA compliant. Again, we identify that there is concern with the exterior frames at these entrances, and we would recommend putting in a canopy, covered canopy at this entrance for obvious reasons for students and visitors as well. The exterior rear loading dock, there is a masonry low wall. Again, we're seeing major structural failure here, where the water has gotten into the wall and completely shifting the masonry off of the adjacent concrete landing. There is just a cover here. The flashing has shifted. It's not properly adhered to the wall. There's some trim here at your roof edge, and just more maintenance items, but they need to be addressed stone trim here to prevent all the stone from coming into your drains. Obviously, it's not working. The stone is into your drain here, into yourself. And you're getting also, you have to maintain these sumps, you have to maintain these roof trims, you have to be cleaning them on a regular basis so that they are functioning. Again, some more of that same detail, but this is at a gutter, gutter. So now the stone has found its way into the gutter, which is very concerning. Some cracking here into your roof access, concerns for your ladder is actually, it's being supported by this masonry and its cedar joints are completely failing. Your interior conditions, again, your toilets, your ADA clearances are not met here. A metal roof in a classroom where we have concern about finishes. This is the P-lam, plastic laminate finish in your bathrooms. We wouldn't recommend putting plastic laminate in the bathroom due to this type of condition. We would recommend putting in a resinous product or a solid surface product Corian, so that you won't have this type of wear. Because again, some more hinge issues between the partitions. You have your existing cafeteria. We are concerned about your cafeterias only because you don't have any space where you can fit your student population at this time with your current month schedules. You have two smaller cafeterias and then the students are sprinkled throughout the building. We also are concerned with this arrangement because of that serving line condition where you're completely enclosed here behind the walls and you only have small penetrations for your openings for students to filter in and out. This is your kitchen space and your original flooring finishes, CMU block. Just where all the hinges you can see it's never been repaired properly, running out of your frames, your door has been built up multiple times with the sheathing. This is the existing gymnasium where we are concerned about the floor. There is asbestos. Again, there's this rusting and corrosion at the base of the frames that I mentioned earlier. There's more rusting at some of the original partitions. Wear and tear bathrooms, again, that condition with the plastic laminate. And your auditorium, which is in need of a renovation as well, and upgrades to your lighting and sound systems. And this is another non-compliant toilet at your concession building. And just the overall floor plans again that align with the items outlined in the report. My findings as a broad brush. Obviously, there's a lot more in my report. Did I answer? Do you want me to answer questions? Or?
Does anybody have any questions? Any questions of the board?
We have a lot of work.
Well, the presentation for our public and those online, both presentations, Mrs. Trombetta's and Mrs. Rose, will be on the district website tomorrow. So anybody who wants to take a second look or a third look, or I've read this report a few times and I'm trying to process it. And obviously we have a lot of challenges in front of us. Something that we've been saying for the last year. So thank you for at least getting this jump started. In the right direction.
Sure. But it's thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Alice.
I think we're trying to grab
gonna run to that, so I'll be back.
So that completes the superintendent update. Okay, next is committee reports. We all met last week. First, finance, facilities and security. We talked about, obviously, the facility assessment that Allison just presented. We didn't even really digest a lot of it because we were going to be listening to it tonight. But we do have a lot of work ahead of us with regards to that. We recommend the approval for the demographic study that's on the agenda. We discussed the security project updates, as Mr. Mangle already briefed, and technology updates and challenges that Jay faced and was successful with over the weekend. So congratulations, Jay, on getting this first phase of our technology done. Awesome. I know the KHS is quite happy. We also talked about some of the other project updates that are going on that are small ones. The tree removal at Stony Brook and PRM and the sidewalk project, and then the HVAC. We have the HVAC equipment for Keel, right? We're just looking to install it. Yes, yeah. So we have the HVAC equipment. Planning to walk through with Allison and the assessment, our committee, as soon as we can all get a time to meet and go through it. It's a lot, we're probably gonna even break it up because it's just too much to do in one walkthrough. Generally 20. Oh, right, yeah, 20. And then we're planning a meeting with the borough's finance group, their finance committee. We just have some things we have to finalize with them, some agreements. And that was our really next is Mike.
Yeah, our meeting was a fairly quick meeting as well. I was, I think, all athletic director all the time we talked about, so talked about our interim athletic director, so we're happy to have him on board and to have that transition period. And then we went through the candidates and Dave kind of briefed us on that. So that was pretty much what we had.
Education.
So we met on Tuesday, November 7th at 4:30. We talked about how our student board representative brought forth the proposition for debate clubs, which we were excited to hear about. It's going to be a new club at the high school, so we talked about the possibility of that. For Veterans Day, Cisco School had a writing project, which was really exciting, and Stony Brook had a great assembly where veterans came and shared with the students, which was a really great experience. Keelan Cisco School is going to be having Quivers Farm bring a chick hatching experience, which is absolutely fantastic. I think the kids are going to love it. And it aligns with our standards on animal life cycle and animal babies. I'm really excited for that. We also talked about the 7th grade math pilot class that's happening at PRM. We talked about the educational technology roadmap that Mrs. Trombetta really, in a detailed way, talked about in the beginning of the night, which was great. We just came back from the New Jersey School Board conferences, and we had some really great initiatives that we learned about. So we talked about how we can bring some of them here. So I'm not gonna do any spoiler alerts for that, but some exciting things that we're hoping to bring back to Kinlaw from our amazing conference experience. And then we talked about just some really great electives that we could bring to the high school that are being proposed, which we're really excited about because we have just amazing staff and they feel passionately about things that they think could really benefit the students. So, you know, one of our gym teachers feels strongly about doing like a mindfulness elective, which could be like instead of health, which we think would be beneficial for all of our students we're excited about. And then we just talked about the possibility of a couple other electives at the high school. We talked about the possibility of bringing unified sports to Kinlaw, which I'm personally really excited about, and I think would be a great opportunity for our students, whether to be involved in or volunteer at. And I think that's pretty much it. It was busy. We talked about ESY a little bit and some new dates for that, and that was it. That wrapped up our night.
So we continue working on, working with Mr. Studa on some suggestions to updating, and otherwise revising some of the policies that relate to substance abuse, smoking, and cannabis. He's done a lot of homework and brought us a lot of different examples and development sites that, and so we're gonna bring that back again in December, just because we need to digest it. We really did a lot of homework, so thank you for making our job easier with that. And after that, we just worked our way, as I reported last month, we worked our way through a large policy order from Strauss Esme that had suggestions, revisions, mandatory changes, and removals on a number of different policies. We had some discussions about several of them. One is the 432.4, like right privacy to get staff and teachers in that right privacy. Among other things, at the beginning of every school year, parents sign either permission or not permission for your student to get photographed, including history, other things. This, among other things, would also include staff members and stuff about being recorded. It also sends them to classrooms, school facilities, and school events. Policy 5111, has to do with eligibility of residents and non-resident students to enroll or stay enrolled while the family has moved or is pending moving. We're going to hold that. Right. So we're going to bring that back next time. We looked at policy 8500, which has to do with food services. There were some options there in the draft language from Justice Plan. We're picking the law. Option 2 just refers to how children are treated if and when there's an overage. No child's ever starve. The policy outlines different steps that happens. And the rest of them are just housekeeping. You can see them in the agenda. Some of them are mandatory. A lot of them are being abolished. We're just cleaning up and getting rid of stuff that's made up. And we were gone for 11.
Thank you. Okay, delegates, news reports.
I haven't had a ton of chance to catch up with any of it. There hasn't been a lot since the workshop, so I think the workshop was a big item. But yeah, I'll send a summary out once I get a chance to get anything else.
North County.
Yes, there was no meeting in November, so their next meeting is early December.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yes.
I'm registered for. Legislative.
There was an election last week, so nothing's happening.
Morrison County Education.
The next meeting is January 10th.
Okay. Community relations, just.
No, that's what we reported last month.
Okay. Figures.
No real anything to add since last month, but they're meeting tonight, so I'll review their minutes.
And then Kinlaw Education Foundation, Carl, I talked to their, we're gonna try to set up that meeting with Jonas and a couple of other people that we talked about since last year. So we're trying to get momentum behind our Kinlaw Education Foundation and overall Worcester Athletic and kind of connect some people. So if you know anybody that's interested in volunteering in those jobs, looking for anybody who likes to fundraise and or just want to get involved, reach out to Carl. Okay. Petition hearing of citizens for agenda items. If you have anything you'd like to tell your support for items on the agenda, please.
You mentioned the agenda policy, I was sure that was discussed,
can't hear. I can't hear anything. Thank you.
So I wasn't sure if that was discussed, I know there was going to be a discussion about it, as we said last time. David, I want to thank you for our multicultural event, I love that, I think that's the very beginning of cultural responsive education, and I will take it and I appreciate it. I want to once again talk about the transgender policy that will be abolished this May. I'm not sure last week what you meant in your statement about parents to parent. As an educator, I believe in the partnership between school and home, and I've worked for 20 years to support that. As a mom, I'm well informed of my role, and many of you on this board who come up to me after board meetings and compliment me on my children. 50% of that I might give to them. 30% of that, at least, are my children's teachers and their administrators. Some of whom have been rocks for my kids, helping them grow and blossom, become their best selves. I cannot imagine what this policy would have done if it was abolished when Louis was ready to command. And that could have been done. I am super concerned about the legal implications that this abolishment faces on the district and each teacher and counselor and administrator. Leaving no guidance, I'm not sure whether it will guide the district with the nuanced support specific to transgender students. The fact that you don't want an unmandated policy is also laughable, which you said last week, because just in 5,000, go 20 to 25 unmandated policies. So that's not a reason. Also, I know many of you have mentioned that you want everyone to be treated equally. That is not the law in New Jersey. Equity is the law. Every kid gets what they need. That's what IRS says, and 504, and GAT, and special ed. Every policy and practice in the district supports equity and not equality. I'm still not sure how much each of you have done this work. Have you researched and done the research on supporting transgender students? I don't think you have. Transgender students have an increased suicide rate of 7 to 8 times. We all need to do more work on this. In the past 3 years, this board has refused to approve a class because the word gender is in it, has allowed a community member to say the FAG word and not reprimanded them. The board president has told me she wished there was a class on bias and how it can save your life. The district did not comply with the mandatory lessons, although Ms. Thomas is super excited that you're here, you're willingness, because she said she's going to fix it. Mr. Mango did a beautiful job in Hackettstown with these lessons. I'm excited to see that come to fruition. On Pride Day, 15 kids showed up in black. And I was told 2 years ago that the GSA wasn't needed because our gay kids and LGBT kids feel fine. They are not fine, and you're not doing your job.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Kim Zerkowitz, I live on 11 Hillside Road. I am reading a statement from Victoria Surgeon. She is the president of Morris County chapter of Gays Against Rumors. Okay, so this statement is from her. I'm here, Gays Against Rumors is here because your school is considering to rescind policy 5756. Gays Against Rumors need to express how the decision of your school made your school made to establish the corrupt and violent policy of lies, secrecy, and insecurity has caused an inevitable uproar among parents who deserve the right to know what is happening to their children's mental health in your school. Parents will not take it lightly when this school won't allow the basic human right parents have to know what is happening to their child when they are away. We need to abolish normalization of untrusting ignorance and to encourage a policy of open communication in the school and go back to the way things have always been. Parent, student, and teacher conferences need to be reestablished. We need open communication from both parties to ensure the safety of our schools. Schools need to be providing resources to parents to get their child mental health if needed instead of leaving the most valuable thing children have in their lives, their parents, in the dust. Policy, Gays Against Rumors believes that policy 5756 is a gateway into an unacceptable disaster and a perfect way for your school to get away with bringing our kids legally. With the policy in place, this school believes that parents don't know how to raise their own kids. It gives the school too much power to dictate families' lives. The diabolically selfish desire to keep information about underage children for power will not be tolerated any longer. Gays Against Rumors will not stop until you vote 5756. Gays Against Rumors will not stop protecting our children, and Gays Against Rumors said they will not stop fighting for the rights to parents, for the right to parent our own kids. And the only other thing I want to add is Kim Circuit is no one loves a child more than their parent, physical parents. Not a teacher, not a principal, not a coach, and certainly not a state. Children flourish when parents are involved in their education and well-being. There can always be an exception, but that is extremely rare, and the trained professionals can and should deal with those cases. If there is a problem at home, the solution shouldn't be to keep secrets from home, but to intervene with qualified professionals who can help find solutions for that child. What would happen if a student showed signs of mental distress, but the school didn't contact the parents out of fear, out of outing them, and the student harmed themselves? That would cause major problems for our school district as far as laws are concerned. There would be lawsuits, and not only things that our district wants that, or wants to pay for. We already had plenty of those, we don't want them.
Hey, everyone, just so that you can contact Gays Against Rumors, their social media platforms, providing gay speech. You're gonna look way to go, but abolishing the policy, I think actually the board has suggested the board would table discussion for further discussion, or take a little further discussion. Mr. Mango and the administration and staff and students, there's no clear guidance yet from the board or in Mr. Mango's office, how staff members will handle a transgender student going to the teacher and saying, this is who I am. So until there's guidance on for staff members on how to handle this, they're just going to advocate. I think students have the right to know how their teachers and how their district are going to treat them prior to voting abolishing this policy. That's the basic routine. As a parent, I think it's the student's story. While Dave, I agree with you last week about parents need to be part of this process, your response last week was solely one side. And the students have rights. And when the district votes on taking this policy away, what you're doing is taking away the most important things to pass, and that's about getting people's sense of self. They need to control their narrative, they need to control their story, they should be able to tell their parents when they're a parent. They shouldn't have a school district. Mr. Mango, I was upset last night, I was confused last week. In your response to me when I asked you about your understanding of policy, you mentioned compare the school district contact with a parent about their transgender status to use a young student in a home for a home. Parents who know it was a big deal. Please let me finish. I didn't know you clarify that afterwards. But Mr. Mayor, the message that my family received was being transgender is a big deal. It's not. I think that is a mistake in there. Making that comparison. well, Mr. Bingo, you had an opportunity to stand by students by saying, hey, these are our transgender students. You don't accept our transgender students. The response team, the LGBT community, failed to do that. We talked about parents. You never once mentioned the word transgender students. This board has never mentioned the word transgender students. If you can't acknowledge the word, how can you say it with the students? Mr. Mayor, as well, I was confused this week, and I was very conflicted about it. I received an email from you in your office about the Veterans Day celebration. I very much want to go to that Veterans Day celebration in town about.
Mr. Roy, we're at 2 minutes.
Kelly, let me give you 3 minutes. Sure. Thank you. So, I'm not sure if you looked at that email. The first person on that flyer that was sent out was a nationwide renowned speaker against LGBTQ rights and diversity. So while I'm assuming you didn't look at that flyer, you just pushed it out. Me as a parent, you said you saw my kid, and I said you don't. You sent out a flyer saying let's celebrate Veterans Day, and I'm very clear. I hope Mr. Beatty, Councilman Beatty, that's 103 Veterans Day. He's long out and put into tears. I love that he did it. But I couldn't attend that celebration because the district put out a flyer and said the first person's name was the most well-renowned LGBT university. California, Florida, North Carolina. Coupled with that, last June, when the parents came here and they were upset about getting rioted by the GSA, another town group event, you again did not stand next to our LGBT kids. All you did was create a policy to control how education is done. You could have said, we support all of our students, we support their participation in all types of events. You didn't do that. That speaks volumes. The board didn't change that. The board changed that. The board, we also did not stand by the GSA and say we support their participation in private events. Whether you agree with it or not, it's that students' record show at least say they deserve the right to participate in such a no one did that. Mr. Mayor, you also talked about the curriculum being living document, which is what we want to change. And my wife and I contact you about the health standards that are yet to be implemented correctly in K-5. The response to us on the board is, I'm not talking about this, it's a moot point. Then you say, it's constantly changing it and look at it and revise it. So we'll continue there. My wife also mentioned about the college level courses. Since we moved here, I believe this is the district strength, and I want to commend the board for doing it. We have an amazing amount of college level classes that offer college level credit. The only class we will not go through is a class about gender. And it was about examining how literature has been represented with gender through age and across genres and time difference. KHS students who are college freshman who study to be a candidate would love to take that class and set a requirement for it. We deny those students that right. Talk about choice. You're only giving a choice.
Okay, Mr. Whittle, that's 6 minutes. That's 6 minutes, Mr. Whittle, please.
That's 7 points.
Mr. Whittle,
7 points.
I've given you 6 minutes, please, that's enough.
I have another person who needs
No, you have 6 minutes, this is not a dissertation on how you feel. You've expressed your opinion.
7 times in the last 3 years.
Mr. Whittle?
To not stand by our students.
Do you have a question for the board? We'd be happy to answer. And it's 3 minutes per person.
Hi, my name is Lauren Maltana. I live on 3 Glenville Drive. The current 5756 policy is written in such a way that it contradicts other policies. Hill has policies in place that call for parental notification and permission for any documentation. Your personal changes that occur for a student. The policies allow parental access to all documentation concerning their students. 5756, most procedural files, which includes student personal information that are kept in addition to regular files. It is a liability for policies to contradict each other. This 5756 is not mandated. It was something that was misunderstood publicly with Governor Murphy, and he has been outed for that. And 5756 is not mandated. So there shouldn't even be any discussion of something that Governor Murphy purposely put out there to deceive all of New Jersey and schools all around it. If you do your research, it's not mandated.
Okay, seeing no other comments, we'll move forward with agenda items. First part is the finance, skills, and security leader, and we have agenda items for you 13, which represent our organizations. They'll be given the top group. One is the treasurer's report, 2 is the secretary's report, 3 is budget transfers, 4 is secretary certification of budgetary line items, 5 is board certification of budgetary line items, 6 is the bills list, 7 is a resolution for reimbursement as in the attachment A. B is the November CJO report. Sorry, the 8. 9 is health and safety evaluation school buildings checklist. 10 is a donation to accept a donation of $2,000 from the Gallagher Family Giving Fund. 11 is the approving the Stepping Forward Counseling Center for a specific student. 12 is to approve the alternate information technology as Mr. Coletta presented. And 13 is to approve the demographic study as we discussed. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussions? Okay, seeing none, Stephen, will report.
Mr. Eisenmaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mrs. Burrow,
Yes.
Mrs. Corbin,
Yes.
Mr. Petroselli,
Yes.
and Mrs. Johnson.
Yes. Personnel.
Yeah, the personnel committee has agenda items number 1 through 14 that represent our organizations. They're going to be voted on as a group. Number 1 is our leaves of absence. You'll see that under chart under number 1. 2 through 5 are appointments. So under number 2, you'll see your appointments in the table. 3 and 4 are the paraprofessionals and training level changes and salary adjustments that you see between attachments A and B. Number 5 is the approval of a corrective action plan. Number 6 is additional assignments. So it's number 6 is a chart of some additional payments that you see there. Number 7 is the job description for the supervisor of athletics activities and physical education and health. That's attachment C. Number 8 is the Title I supplemental support program. You'll see the listing by school there under number 8. And then starting at number 9 is where we have the coaches and co-curricular activities. Number 9 is the revised PRM co-curricular list. And again, these are all attachments in the back if you have a chance to look at them. 10 is the KHS co-curricular list. 11 is keto. 12 is clinical interns. Again, another attachment there. 13 is revised for coaches and volunteers. And 14 is substitutes for the school. Motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on these? Stephen, will report.
Mrs. Corbin,
Yes.
Mrs. Burrow,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard,
Yes.
Mr. Eisenmaker,
Yes.
Mr. Petroselli,
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson.
Yes. Education.
Agenda items 1 through 6 will be voted upon as a group. Number 1 is an out-of-district placement in attachment A. Number 2 is the 18 for syllabi out on attachment B.
Number 3 is we approve the technology subscriptions and applications outlined in attachment C. Number 4, these are the dates we put forth for the extended school year program. Number 5, these are the field trips for this upcoming year. Number 6, these are the math title course changes.
Motion. Second.
Thanks. Any discussion? Mrs. Leonard?
Yes.
Mr. Eisenmaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Perla?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mrs. Portman?
Yes.
Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
And Mrs. Thomas? Yes. Policy, Mr. President.
I know the agenda says items 1 through 3. I'm going to suggest do 1 and 2 as the policy committee's recommendation. I'd also note, I'm sorry to say this, we approved the minutes, and I already checked with Carrie on this. There was a typo in the minutes about the policy report from last meeting. And it's simply on the motion, it's the same thing that we're doing right here, separating out the abolishment of the regulars and the so I chatted with her on that. I don't know that we need to vote on that, just know that that's what I suggested, so it's just a typo that we fixed it.
Okay, thanks for that.
But again, here, it's, so I'm gonna suggest items 1 and 2 as the policy committee's recommendation is take that as the so number 1, come on over and on the recommendation superintendent's of the HIT report, you can see it there. And I just lost my page. Right, yeah, so we have 2 on second reading and 4 on first reading. And item number 2 has to do with policy order 231 on first reading, and you see there revisions, regulations, revisions, and the policy policies.
I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on items 1 and 2 on the policy?
I started to ask Jonathan, and then I ran out of time. But I was just looking at the right of privacy. And I started to ask him, you know, one section about the videotaping, like how optional is it? What's the benefit of approving it? So I hear you.
Jen, they can't read,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I'm talking about the, right of privacy, 3324. And I was reading just very quickly earlier, the optional section for prohibiting videotaping. I wanted to hear kind of the benefit of having that as a policy.
So it's obviously a recommendation from Strauss estimate. It's not mandatory, so it's up to the district whether you want to adopt it or not. In the beginning, it's cleaning up some of the language, so having support staff, different types of staff. The optional talks about board prohibiting any audio or video recording of a support staff member or student by the student. Other school staff, another visitor, or any other person else, support staff members performing their personal jobs. It goes on, in similar vein, talk about that there's no, that everybody on campus has the right to expect privacy in terms of not being an audio or video recording.
So what's the optional part?
To put that into the policy.
Oh, okay. And that's part of it, yeah. Well,
And then on the flip side, at the very end, sorry, it's any person making an audio or video recording in violation that would be without the permission of the people being recorded. Shall be required to make the cease making the recording, including, you know, the staff members kind of violate the provisions of the something to discipline.
so, did your question answered?
I'm just thinking, as, you know, as a public school,
it is wise to, like, I know we're not, you know, you don't want to pay any kind of habit. I mean, it's a bad situation. But I don't know if we should, in policy, take that completely out. It's just my concern.
Can I add on?
Yeah, so in one situation, we lost,
I just think that the fact that it's there, like anytime you're in public, if you know you're being seen by anyone, you might hold yourself to higher standard. So sometimes I think that can be a deterrent. Maybe looking here.
as it's written, just again, it's a recording of a staff member or student by, and then a student or staff member is another person. So this would include students filling other students' co-op. Do we want that?
I have a question, and I need to started to try to think through this in the policy meeting. Some of the verbiage reads, in addition, teaching staff members shall have a reduced expectation of privacy. In these facilities, the school district owns property, there is a reasonable suspicion of the teaching staff member violating a law or school policy. Does that supersede the prohibition of audio recording tapers, let's say the CT's or something like that, with a teacher in the student's safety interest? What, you know, with this optional piece in, does it allow, I mean, I just.
Is that a separate policy?
No, it's.
Okay, so
That would remain in there.
this is 53, 43, 24, right, privacy. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that we table this and refer, that we refer this back to the policy committee for review meeting. So that will remove this from the first reading. Motion.
Motion. Sorry.
Okay. And all in favor, refer to that committee? Aye. Okay. So let's, I think there's a lot enough here that it's complicated enough, and I actually think that this really does need to be very careful, because it does have a lot of information, so, okay, great. So, taking out, wait, is there a regulation with that too? 4324.
It's 3324, 4324.
And G. 4324. 3324, and I see, D, G, and this one. Just two. Okay, all right, so then we'll refer this back to the policy committee. And then we'll, we bring them up next month for the first reading. Okay, so any other discussions on any other policies? Okay, so what we're now approving is item 1, item 2, with the exception of D and G for policy work. And so can I, I'm sorry, can you hold the board, please?
Mr. Eisenhower?
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mrs. Burrow?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Patricelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes. Okay. John?
Okay, item 3 is second reading, on the recommendation of superintendent to abolish non-mandatory voter report policy 5756. The resolution, I read it to the record last month, it's, it hasn't changed.
So can I have a motion to approve the abolishment of policy 5756?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion on this, please?
I do, And I just wanted to, kind of state that we did have a meeting this earlier week where we kind of talked about this policy. So I did express to the board the concerns that I have. I think the issues here are, I think there's a group of transgender students that we need to care for. I think Dave and I don't think one was on my call, but expressed how we can care for those students under the existing policies. I think a lot of the arguments here kind of dictate the need for a policy, is my feeling in terms of caring for those students. I think what we were focused on is either keeping it or abolishing it. I know that the state has recommended, that we heard on that call, that the state recommends it either keep it as it is or totally abolish it. I don't think I agree with either of those options. I feel very uncomfortable with that. The fact that we have all this conversation around it means we need an amended policy. To me, that's what it is. If the state who put us into this kind of situation in the first place is now telling us we can't amend the policy. So I have a problem with that. It was brought up the last time about how this could put students in a difficult position. It could put the staff and teachers in a difficult position. I think we have an obligation as a board to take some time to amend the policy. So that's kind of why I feel uncomfortable with it. There was one parallel example that I brought up with board members. If you remember the AI situation that happened in Westfield recently with the girl that was taken. I think the reason the board is struggling with it there is because they don't have a policy around that. Sidebar, I think we need AI policies just for a side note there. But I think it does put students and staff in a difficult position if there is no kind of guidelines roadmap for that. So my preference here would be to amend the policy versus the election. So that's
As you mentioned, and as it was advised by the lawyer on that call, problem with amending policies, that's the three districts that tried to amend it to by the Attorney General, and I have no idea what they're incurring for legal fees for that. And the advice of Jeff when we was to not amend it. So that was the advice came from. So that puts us in a position that either abolish it or keep it as is. That's just your understanding.
The twist that I described last time is that the policies in our books, the books that are in my basement, and also on the website right now, does not contain 5 or 6 paragraphs that are in the state's guidance and in every other district's policy. So if we were going to amend it, you would at a minimum to put those 5 or 6 in. And again, from a policy point of view, it doesn't, I believe it's kind of doing a disservice not just to the students, but to the community, in the sense that you think as a community member, we're getting rid of the policy, therefore we don't have to do those things. Except that we still do. So that's the issue, is that by going ahead and doing this, you still have to do the things that are in. We did have a conversation with the board's attorney, and I asked him, okay, so in the policy, there's a section on use of bathrooms, right? So we get rid of the policy. The community thinks, oh, okay, who gets to use the bathroom? That is, it's being ironed out. Staff is coming up with, what are we going to do? The community, though, usually have policies, so the community knows what you're going to do. In that policy right now, it says that the transgender student is permitted to request the use of the facility that they feel comfortable using. It also says that any student who feels uncomfortable may request the use of an alternate facility. That's what's in the policy right now. So if we get rid of the policy, the community is going to think, okay, well, what are we going to do? And that's the question. What are we going to do? So we just got to do the policy. I understand, I understand there's other things out in the universe right now that says, hey, we need to do this, or hey, we need to do that. If we get rid of this policy, I think, in the short term, not a short term as months, we're gonna be ending up putting together another policy. Because, you know, Dave in the office is gonna come up with these are the rules we're living by, and once we get to speed of those rules, we're gonna have to codify it. There's policies, it's how we're doing this.
Well, I think to some degree though, that would actually be the amendment, which is what I was talking about. Because some of my problem with our policy and guidelines from the state is that they're not aligned with the actual law. And they kind of go above and beyond it in some places where it actually puts us, what the speaker said, in contradiction with other policies. And that's where we run into a difficult position. And so I would rather just to Jeff's, I just think that there is something to be said for getting rid of a policy that contradicts other policies and also isn't actually in law. So if the law doesn't say that you have to provide them with a bathroom, it says that you have to provide them an opportunity to use a different bathroom that they're comfortable with. It doesn't have to actually be the other gender. It just says they have to have an alternative, which we can provide them. But it doesn't mean that they have to go use a other gender locker room. They just have to have another option. The guidelines say that, the law itself doesn't. And so that's where we get into some of the problems. But I understand where everybody's going with this, and I want kids to be supported with what makes them comfortable in school, and that's all kids, everybody. And that's a really difficult, path to follow right now, because what some kids want makes some kids uncomfortable. Like using a bathroom or a locker room if you're not the same biological sex. And that's uncomfortable for some kids, especially boys, girls changing their locker room. And that's understandable. So if we can provide an alternative for that person, we are obligated to do that under the law. We need to do that. And so we're stuck between a rock and a hard place with this for sure. And so everybody's gonna have to do what they think is right. And that's why we're all elected and we all have to. This is the management rules. Yeah, it's true. And you did it. I really want to thank Jonathan and Mike, specifically, also Jen, everybody on board for the lengths that we went to really research this, discuss this, and look at it from all angles, and to represent everybody in the community when we did that. Because we really did spend a lot of time doing this. And I researched transgenderism, and what's going on in our society a lot, to spend a lot of time on this. I spent a lot of hours, and I really appreciate Mike and Jonathan's specific questions because they challenged me to think, and I really appreciate that. Okay, so we are now voting to abolish the non-mandatory policy and accept the resolution in item number 3 policy for policy 5756.
Mrs. Portman?
Yes.
Mrs. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard?
Yes.
Mr. Eisenmaker?
No,
Mr. Registrar?
Abstain.
And Mrs. Thomas?
Yes. Okay, for committee of the whole, committee of the whole, unfinished business, new business. Correspondence.
I have a petition here from.
Oh, okay, so that's the electric case. Okay, so we're to petitions and hearings for non-agenda items. There's something we're trying.
I just have an email from Nicholas Warren, thanking the Board of Ed for providing live streams of the Board of Ed meetings. I appreciate the ability to stream and watch these meetings at my convenience. The audio quality is very poor and it's very difficult to follow and understand what's being said. It is possible to improve audio quality on the live stream anyway. Their equipment are having it moved off to the nice normal scrutiny. Any effort to improve the audio quality is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
What do you think is it when we're talking to the, it's just the echo in there?
We can't hear a word, we don't want to reach the
So,
The microphone's not here.
facility assistant, long list of, agreed. We agree. Okay, board member comments, we do have to go into executive session after this, so just keep track. Who wants to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
I know next month is the fall sports spectacular, but I wanted to just send a shout out to the girls volleyball team. Who won the section. Very exciting, great turnout out there, and they're just amazing. Also want to shout out to the fall play that's happening this weekend, and I wish them all well. As well as the PR robotics competition happening Saturday, all day long at Knowledge, all day long. Just thank you for everybody that came and listened to the facilities report. You know, and I don't know, and that's all I can say is thank you for listening. And finally, the commenter made me think, is there a way, I don't even know if we do this already, but is there a way to live stream the concerts that happen here? I don't know if we do, but I don't know, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So, but there are a lot of concerts coming up, as Mr. Megan shared in his report, pretty much every day for 2 weeks or something like that. But yeah, we can live stream it and people can listen.
They can certainly watch, no?
They can watch.
Kelly,
Sure. I just think that Wednesday is a really amazing holiday to celebrate this wonderful, country that we live in. People that have given up their freedoms to celebrate, to make sure that we have those every day. So I just wanted to thank the schools. I think they did a phenomenal job. Every single school had their very own way of making it resonate with the kids and making the kids really understand what the holiday was about. So thank you so much for that. I wanted to congratulate all the kids with the Pillar of Character. I think today's day and age, just character development cannot be talked about enough. And the kids that are exemplifying kindness and strong character at the schools, they really should be celebrated. And I think it's phenomenal. So I'm glad that we did that. I was not brought down by the architecture problems tonight. I'm actually really excited because I think we have this opportunity to look forward to Kinnelon's future for a very long time, especially with COVID. We were hyper focused on now. So I'm really excited to have such a great group of people and to be focused on the future of Kinnelon. And I just see great things, so I'm very hopeful. I did want to just speak to 5756. We did do a lot of research. People that you see up at this table are hard workers, researchers, we look into things. And the policy, I'm speaking for myself, the policy was really all or nothing, to take everything or nothing. And for me, I felt like I was forced with that. But that does not mean that I don't want every single student that comes into Kinnelon schools to be valued, respected, spoken to, so that they believe that they can be the best that they can be. And so the conversation will now continue on how we can do that and how we can make that happen. But I don't want you to look at it in a black and white way. I want you to look at it more in a gray way, that policy doesn't work for us, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to have conversations about it. So hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving and a good night.
Kevin? I appreciate being able to go to the board ed workshop for the first time. It was really great, and I went to a lot of different courses and learned a lot. It was very good. I want to thank everyone for attending, and it was a really long meeting. I appreciate everybody that gives comments. We do listen, and I've been here, so I know it's not easy. I appreciate the courage it takes to do that. I want to say congratulations to the girls volleyball team. That was a fantastic game. I got to see that one. And I just wanted to say that I'm grateful for this board. it's, I think, exceptional how well we converse, and we might not always agree, but we find a respectful way, an intelligent way to figure out what the next step is and how to move forward. So I appreciate you. Jamie?
So I wanted to publicly congratulate Commissioner Sweden. I know she received her award in the Convention in City, well deserved award. Also congratulations to you on your reelection, and I am very grateful for all the time that you put into this board. This was so I very much appreciate it. And just to wish all families a happy Thanksgiving, along with all of the teachers, the administration, staff, all the building employees. Just have a Thanksgiving with parents. Thank you.
Well, I echo what everyone else has said, next time I'll go first.
Okay, you got it, you're next time.
I'll go first next time. All right, so quick run up, congrats to the students that were recognized tonight. I always think that's amazing to see people recognized in all aspects of their academic career or just their conduct from day to day. I want to echo what Kelly said about 5.7.6, right? I feel like that is one of those things that's all important, but I don't want anyone to think otherwise that we are not for all students and all things. All students have the right to education, safety, and non-bullying, and all those kinds of things. That is never the case in this policy. Just because one is gone does not mean a group is neglected. In no way is that I feel in any way that was ever the case. And just a happy Thanksgiving to everyone. If everyone's traveling, have a safe drive. I'm making it very long way back to Ohio, so we are. So yeah, that's it. Good night, everyone.
I'll just continue the gratitude thing. So thank you to Mr. Morgan and Mr. Duser for presenting Pillars of Character and keeping that going. We really appreciate that. Thank you, Mrs. Trombetta, for her presentation. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Mr. Janicelli also for your kind of behind the scenes work there. So thank you to everyone, staff, from Mr. Manville on down for all the hard work you did. I hope everybody enjoys their Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you for coming out and for just being here for, just being here. It does help. It's nice when it's not empty here. Yeah, have a great night, and if you do travel for Thanksgiving, be safe. We'll see you next time.
Make a motion for a motion to go
We
into.
will have some motion for executive session. Oh, for, so, you made the motion? You're all free to go. Bye, run away.